This room will feature a photo exhibit, and the photo exhibit is entitled Captured Resistance. During that time, that was American occupation. The early 1900s, so 1905, 1920s. We have this part of the exhibit is featuring head hunting rituals featuring a head, and then the other perspective which was rituals featuring the body. Yung sa tattoos niya, but ito kita yung sa earrings niya, that only the fierce warriors are entitled to have that.
In this episode, we bring you back to our ongoing quest to learn the origin story of the Banaue Rice Terraces. At first lights, we departed from Banaue Hotel and drove off the twisting Ifugao Mountain Province Road under a dense cover of morning fog. Despite the gloomy skies, the haze gradually lifted, and a beautiful panorama of verdant mountainside and the meandering stream of the Hapao River appeared before us. We rolled into the municipality of Hungduan, where unbeknownst to us, a fascinating surprise awaited us. Hungduan is bounded on the northeast of Banaue and southeast of Kiangan. Hungduan's rice terraces, along with the ones in the Nagakagan in Kiangan, Batad and Bangaan in Banaue, and in Mayoyao, comprise the Ifugao Rice Terraces inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. As warm smiles from locals dressed in traditional garb greeted us, we begin to feel part of a special event unfolding. Not long after, we were having a taste of freshly cooked red rice as some of the males around us prepare a pork meat dish, which accordingly is devoid of any ingredients except salt. This is what we will serve to our visitors, one of them explains in Tagalog. Elsewhere by the riverbank, a crowd started to thicken. Men, women, and children all appear in a celebratory mood. Their cheerful voices echo through the roar of the river's rapids.
I am Heidi Antonio Hermosora, the Tourism Operations Officer of the Local Government Unit of Hungduan. Punnuk, ang mangyayari ngayon, magmamarch yung tatlong villagers from their villages, magko-converge sila dito, and dito sila mag-gogopa or di kaya mag-prepare muna, and then mag-tug of war. Yun na yung Punnuk natin. It is our belief that the winner village will be having a more bountiful harvest than the other villages. Yun po. They will be expecting a more authentic festival. Hindi siya yung kagaya ng ibang festival that is very staged or prepared well. Ito, ang festival na ito is parang simple lang siya kung ano talaga yung nangyayari. So, we do it local. It's actually part of our life, and it's our part of our agricultural cycle. This festival is part of the Hoa ritual. So, the Hoa ritual is the post-harvest ritual, the total post-harvest ritual. So, it is divided into three. We have our Dubaki and the Inom, and then this Punnuk. Of course, 10 years from now, we would visualize that it's still ginagawa pa ng mga tao and is still passed on to the generation. This is really our practice. Dapat pahalagahan natin, and dapat ito maituro din natin sa ating mga future generation para hindi naman po siya mawala. Kasi this is our identity, and it is only us who have this Punnuk here, not just in the Cordillera but also in the entire Philippines.
By some incredible stroke of luck, as we embarked on our journey to document the story of Banaue Rice Terraces, we stumbled upon another captivating narrative, the intensely vibrant Punnuk Festival. As we cast our gaze around, a compelling scene unfolds before us. Men donning their traditional loincloths and women gracefully adorned in tapis, psyching themselves for the exhilarating tug-of-war showdown that lies ahead. Expanding on Ms. Hermosora's explanation, the Punnuk Festival is a celebration that marks the culmination of three sacred rituals tied to the end of agricultural season. These rituals take place along the Nunhipukana River, a tributary of Hapao River. The men hailing from the three barangays of Hapao, Baang, and Mungulunan engage in a competitive ritual called Ginuyodan, a thrilling tug-of-war. Against a ceaselessly flowing river, eager participants must grab hold of a rope known as pakid, crafted from the sturdy stem of Anatoba tree. Their mission, to exert their strength and pull on an object called Kiangan, an item formed from tightly packed rice stalks, taking the shape of a human figure. The festival comes to a close as the Kinag object is released, symbolically appeasing the river's divine guardians. We could have never been more thrilled to veer off course from our original objective. However, despite basking in the delightful atmosphere at the Punnuk festival, which UNESCO has recognized as part of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, our curiosity persists in uncovering the true origins of the Banaue Rice Terraces. And so, we hit the road once again, this time making our way to Kiangan, the oldest town in Ifugao. A fascinating sight caught our attention in Kiangan. Locals smoothly strolled down the road on bicycles crafted entirely from wood, even down to the intricate wooden wheels.
Speed to go up to I think 40. Yeah, it's a bit bumpy. Wow, for a flat surface, for a good pavement, this is something challenging, but you should try this. A moving hardwood.
We had the amazing opportunity to meet Miss Lali Duluan, an enthusiastic storyteller who regaled us with yet another engrossing tale of Ifugao, about the headhunters, and possibly the origins of Banaue Rice Terraces.
So welcome to the Indigenous Peoples Education Center. So we sometimes call it Gabaldon, we sometimes call it the Community Center, but it's where we can find educational materials for the school children here in Kiangan Central School. So the school children are brought here to learn about heritage, to learn about history, to learn about themselves, their identity. This room will feature a photo exhibit, and the photo exhibit is entitled Captured Resistance. So, captured in the sense na during that time, that was American occupation. So in here, this would be pictures. It features pictures that were taken during the early 1900s, so 1905, 1920s. So that early, the time of the American occupation. So we were given a lot of digital photos from University of Michigan, University of the UCLA, and we had to make heads and tails from all the 1,000 digital photos. So eventually, we were able to classify them according to the agricultural calendar, the rituals about the Ifugao architecture, the headhunting, body ornaments, and body tattoos. Rituals also regarding the life cycle of man, and then eventually we ended up with who were the Americans who during that time, during the early 1900s. So we call them the white apples. So in here we have this part of the exhibit is featuring headhunting, something that's not, shall we say, the idea of headhunting in Ifugao. While we knew that there were headhunters, we were headhunters before, that was a subject, a topic that was not really common fare for learners. Yeah, so when we were given this the set of pictures, we saw all these pictures, all these photographs of rituals featuring a head, and then the other perspective, which was rituals featuring the body. So in here, we have the ritual of victory. This one is about the people who successfully got ahead. So they call that the ditak, or ritual and a ceremony featuring the head that was taken during, shall we say, a battle. So in here, they're trying to tell the head that it belongs to that community. No, so they try to open the eyes of that person so that he would recognize the people and the area as his own community, which is the opposite naman of the other side, the community that lost, who has a member who lost his head. So in here naman is called with himong. The himong is a ritual, is a dance featuring the community whose member lost his head, and they're trying to tell that person to avenge himself, that he has to do something. His spirit should try his best to avenge himself or to avenge the community. So they will not give him at all, shall we say, honor. Whenever someone passed away, you give him honor for the life that he had. But in the case of the one who lost his head, he is not at all given honor, because number one, so that he will get angry and that he will avenge himself. So yon. So if there's a war dance, they will conduct the war dance going towards the area where his body will be buried. And then in here, it will feature people telling him that he should avenge himself. So his actually his spitted on. They drag his body and all that, so that the purpose for that is for him to get angry and then eventually avenge himself. Saying that the body ornaments and the body tattoos are related to headhunting. You would only be entitled to wear this kind of earring and this type of tattoos only if you are a warrior. And pagka sabi nilang warrior would be the people who successfully beheaded or protected his community. So, yon, for the women, body tattoos are for aesthetic purposes, but for the men, it's really because they deserve this. They deserve it for being fierce warriors. And here we have the pictures featuring yung American occupation. So these were the American leaders. We have the White Apos. So we have this book by Henista featuring all the who were the lieutenant governors nung time na yon. So that ranges from 1905 to 1913 and eventually 1920s, ganon. So there's Tomlinson, I can recognize his features. Then there's Galman, Governor Galman was the one who successfully ended headhunting in Ifugao. So they learned the language, they learned the cultural practices, and they used that knowledge to eventually have the Ifugaos be educated, accept maybe Christianity. So it helped a lot that they understood first the culture before trying to mainstream the Ifugaos into Western justice. So that's how they stopped headhunting, and then of course education. Yung sa tattoos niya, but ito kita yung sa earrings niya, that only the fierce warriors are entitled to have that, the head. So it doesn't show the head. So this is part of the ditak, the victory dance. They're doing the victory dance. On the other side, they would be doing the war dance, yung napugutan ng ulo. But this one, yung mga nanalo, they're doing the ditak. So first of all, I'm Lali Dulnuan. I am with the National Museum of the Philippines, but I'm here at the moment as a member of the Kiangan Cultural Heritage Volunteers. So there's a group of volunteers. We are actively trying to know more about our heritage and sharing this information to the community and then of course to visitors. About the rice terraces and how it came to be, shall we say, of course we have the myths and the legends, and then thankfully, we also have this Ifugao Archaeological Project conducted by several universities And it's not just limited to the Philippines, but these are University of Hawaii, and then other UCLA and other universities. So they were able to conduct scientific studies about the history of Ifugao, and they used the scientific methods. At the same time, they validated this through the stories of the people. So the stories of the people could come from the chants, that could come from the rituals, and it would come from stories from the old people, you know, the ones who came ahead. From the debriefing that the archaeological group gave us, they're saying that Ifugaos were once upon a time members, they were from the lowlands, from the plains. It has not always been that we were from the mountains, but it was a sort of strategy on the part of our old folks to move up to the mountains, and that's where they came to Kiangan. That's along the riverbanks of Ibulao, and they put up this community. And it was the largest village. Eventually, they were able to come up here to this side because the river is down there between Lagawi and Kiangan. And from that village, they came up here to where we are now. So it was a strategy on their part to avoid and to be able to resist the Spaniards during that time. And they succeeded in doing so. The area was never under Spanish rule. So it was only during that time that it was nearly time for, like 1898, that the Spaniards let go of the Philippines. There were studies that shows that not always a wet agriculture. It was there was a time that on the mountains the plants planted were taro. So that was the staple food maybe before, and then eventually they shifted to wet agriculture, and that's when the rice was planted. Yon. And then of course from there on the rice terraces were built. To say that it took 2,000 years to build the rice terraces was also maybe, shall we say, unfair on the part of the Ifugaos, because they can do so, they can terrace a mountain in less than that time, less than 2,000 years old. They are that skilled. It won't take 2,000 years to create that landscape, the one you saw in Batad, the one you saw in Hungduan, and the ones here in Ifugao, and in other areas here in the province and in the Cordillera. Now we are a product of the olden times as well as the modern times. So we're trying to our identity is both as that image of what we have seen in the photo exhibit, because that's what we were. At the same time, this is what we are now. We are Christians. At the same time, we are Ifugaos. We carry also our forefathers' identity. So it's both. It's a bit complex, to say the least, because yeah, we are educated, maybe, now these days. At the same time, we recognize who we were in the past, and we carry that also in who we are now.
While we may have never gotten a definite answer to the origins of the Banaue Rice Terraces, we felt fortunate to have found ourselves immersed in a world of unexpected detours and profound new knowledge. We set on a journey driven by curiosity. By delving deeper into Ifugao's culture, we elevated our brief mountain exploration to extraordinary heights and gained an unforgettable experience that will forever remain etched in our memories.